when I'm filming like
Oh
the
my
stages, I also sing along. And then in the moment, you're like, oh my God, I am singing so beautifully.
I'm in the
with
moment.
the artist. And then I go back and watch the videos and I'm like, no. Hi everyone, my name is Sissi.
I'm Chris Molly.
And this is Pod in the Verse, a fan-first podcast that explores everything about the music world.
Here to take K-pop further than ever, episode by episode, we'll dive deep into the latest fan content and get to know other fans.
So, grab your headphones,
get comfortable,
and dive into the pod with us.
So before we hop into the episode or really dive in, just a quick reminder, remember that there is actually another version of this podcast in Spanish.
Tenemos una versión en español llamado Todo en el Verso. Por favor, síganos en nuestras redes. And we have 2 other episodes available, so please make sure you follow us on our social medias, on our Weverse Zone community, and keep up to date with what we're doing.
Yeah, because we're here for a while and we want you guys to be here since the beginning.
Yes. And we also have a special surprise for you guys in the fan zone, so we'll make sure you tune in to watch that special surprise. So, Chris Molly, it's been a while. I missed you. Where have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, for the last week, I've been working, and then this past weekend, I just got into reading more. I went vinyl shopping.
Ooh, did you buy anything?
I did. Spent a little too much, but that's okay because
very understandable.
It's a collector's thing. I like to collect things. But what about you? What did you do?
I recently watched Mickey 17. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I know we're supposed to watch it together.
You went without me.
But I was like, it's now or never. And I usually truly enjoy watching movies by myself.
Yeah.
I was crying like half of the movie.
What?
I do cry easily too, but I was like, oh my God, like it's just so beautiful, so well written and everything. So if you haven't watched the movie, go support.
Yeah, well, it's still in theaters. I know what I'm going to do.
This weekend. Watch it by yourself.
Actually, no, it is nice to watch movies by yourself. I've even going to concerts by yourself, watching movies, it is a different experience.
Yeah. So have you been to concerts by yourself too?
I've actually been to so many by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I feel like for me, when I go to concerts, I like to feed off like people's energy, especially like my friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like they hype me up that way. But talking about going to concerts by myself, I actually, a couple of weekends ago, I went to the NCT 127 concert by myself. But I actually had a lot of fun. Like I made friends with the fans around me, and they were so passionate that I think I screamed even louder because I think we were like in it together. So it was a fun experience.
I find that I know it could be scary for some people like going to concerts by yourself, but the way I see it is if you know you love that musician, that artist, you're going to be in the area just like you were with other people that love them too. So it's not like you're losing out on that interaction. I'm really glad you experienced the love and the joy of seeing a concert by yourself.
And I feel like we already kind of have been talking about it, but whether you work behind the scenes or you go to concerts by yourself or with friends, I think it's such a good experience for everyone. And no matter where you sit in the stadium, in the venue, I feel like you can kind of get different experiences, but you truly just enjoy and love the music that the artist brings. So either way, I feel like concerts are the best thing ever.
Yeah. And I actually used to live in LA for a time. And when I lived there, I think I went to the most concerts I ever had in my life just because there were so many around me.
Yeah.
And whether it's a small venue or a big venue, truly what makes the experience are the people around you, what the artist brings themselves to the stage, and just also how you're feeling in that moment. Because sometimes they're a good place to release like stress and emotions.
For sure.
Other times if you've been waiting for them forever, like if you saved up to go, it can feel like I finally achieved going to see them.
Yeah.
Because you'll never have experienced that exact same concert in the exact same way again.
True.
So it's like a special memory.
It's a very YOLO mindset.
It's a very YOLO mindset, yeah. But no kids, I can go to concerts.
I love it. Tell me what your favorite concert ever, like that you've been to.
Ever. Okay, I've been to a lot of them, but I think my favorite one ever was actually Jackson Wang's Magic Man show.
I've actually never seen GOT7 or Jackson in person, but I've heard really good things about them.
Yeah, and for me, the reason I loved it so much was because I also had never seen them as a group. I'd never seen him solo. And I went with a friend who was a huge fan. So I liked him too, but like this person was a huge fan. And I was just surprised at the level of artistry that they brought to the venue we were in, because it wasn't a huge stadium. It was just like a regular like theater. But he had so many like props, his dancers, the story. Like I was enraptured the entire time. And I also couldn't believe he was doing it for like 2 hours straight.
Oh, wow. And he was just doing it by himself with like his team, right?
With his team, yeah. So it was a solo concert. So he sang all the songs by himself. The fans went crazy. Even his little sections for the fans where he sings like Love You 3000.
Oh, that's so cute.
I love that song. I found myself becoming an even bigger fan of his because of the concert.
Since you've been to so many concerts,
yes.
What is like the difference now that you feel from going to like the latest concert you've been to versus the very first one you went to?
Well, the first concert I ever went to for K-pop was a Day 6 concert.
Oh my God, I love them.
Yeah.
I love their songs.
This was back in 2017 when they did the Everyday 6, when they were releasing singles every month.
You went, they came to
the U.S.?
The Americas?
No. I was actually studying in Korea at the time.
Oh, wow.
So it was really special because it was the first time I was going to a K-pop concert and I was in Korea.
That was your first one ever?
It was my first one ever. Because where I lived, at the time, I used to live in Florida. They were not really coming to Florida. And if they were, it was to Miami, which is not where I was. But from the difference between that first concert to the latest concert is, well, one, I wear earplugs now.
You got to protect those ear hairs, right?
Earplugs allow me to do is to focus in on the musician and not quite as much on the screaming next to me or my own screaming.
Or your own singing, right?
Or my own singing,
God, the worst thing for me about going to concerts is that when I'm filming like the stages, I also sing along. And then in the moment, you're like, oh my God, I am singing so beautifully.
I'm in the moment
with the artist. And then I go back and watch the videos and I'm like, no.
Yeah, you're like who's like, that in the background?
And it's like, you put a mirror and you're like, me, myself, and I. And
I'm
you're
the
like,
problem.
I'm the problem. And I'm like, oh God, I've like ruined my video. But I get to enjoy the moment. So,
And I think, those videos are more so for your memories.
Of course,
because we know if you want a crystal clear video, YouTube has loads of them.
Yeah.
But you'll never have one like from your POV, like yours.
With my singing.
With your singing. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides the earplugs, what else is different for you?
Besides the earplugs, I think what's different now is, I think when I first went to my first K-pop concert, I really just saw that. I was like, wow, this is the first K-pop concert. So you're so obsessed with like, this is the first time I'm ever seeing something like this. And over time, when you go to more of them, you really appreciate them as just concerts at the end of the day, because the musicians all have the same goal in mind as all the other concerts I've been to in the past. The only real difference for me now is how long I wait to see certain people, because back when I went then, they weren't coming to the US as much. And now that they're coming to the US, they're coming to Latin America even more often, it feels more like something I can casually enjoy instead of something that now I have to wait a very, very long time to do. Because the only reason I hadn't been to a concert yet was because they never came near me.
Right. Now you have more options to choose from.
I have way more options to choose from. And there's also way more people I can share the experience with. Because when I first went, I went alone.
Because you didn't know any other fans.
I didn't know any other fans. And it was fine. It was still great. I loved it. But now there's so many other people that I could go with who are fans of other people, who are at least more open to going to the concerts.
Right. Like us. We've been to concerts together now. Yeah. I think we've been to like 4 or 5 now, which is a lot, actually.
That's actually a lot because it's been like 4 or 5 and maybe like less than a year of us going to concerts together. Right. What has been your favorite concert?
My favorite concert is probably 2022. I was in Korea also. But I was just visiting and doing an internship there with my university. And then because I was there, I was like, oh, I might as well just like try to go as many concerts as possible.
Both of us in Korea.
Right. And then I went to the 17 concert, and back then I didn't really know much about them. I knew that they had a song called Aju Nice, but that was pretty much it. Like I really didn't know like everyone's names. I had heard great things about the band, but I was like, oh well, I might as well go. And I got like the furthest seats possible because everything was sold out. And so me and my friend was also not a carrot. We went there. We sat on the 4th floor. The the guys were not even a pixel. They were like half a pixel. They were like,
Oh my gosh,
this
little
small.
tiny ants.
Even the screen was like not that big. And we left the concert as carrots. Like truly, I think even though I was sitting so far, I truly enjoyed that concert so much. I think for 17, what really stood out to me was that the guys were really enjoying themselves. And then I could truly feel the love that they had for their fans, for their music.
Yeah.
And also the fact that Aju Nice lasted for like 2 hours. It was, and I mean, even like when they were talking, they talked for so long. And like, I could truly feel that genuine connection that they had with their fans. And so I think that's why I came out of the concert as a carrot, because I was like, wow, like they truly are so passionate for what they do. And so I think that's my favorite concert.
And so then, since then, you've seen so many other concerts. Has there been any like differences between then and the last one you went to?
Instead of just focusing on the stage, I think I also look at like the surroundings. Like I'm like, oh wow, like in order for them to film their VCR or for certain stages, like they bring in dancers and everything. And so I think seeing that logistic itself, it makes me being in awe of how much work they put into each concert. And so yeah, I think like the behind the stage and like how much work they put in, sometimes it's kind of invisible, but I think I try to appreciate that a little bit more.
Speaking of that, it sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Yes.
So have you seen what it's like behind the curtains?
Yeah. So actually I did work. The latest like concert I've worked at was K Playfest. So
Oh,
it's
cool.
actually it's basically like a convention where a lot of fan clubs come and then they can like trade photo cards. There's like they do a little stands for like small businesses too. So I really like the mission that they have to like elevate like local communities. And then at the end of like the 2 or 3 day convention, they have like a concert. And so for that specific one that I volunteered for, Junie was performing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and truly I seeing like how much logistic it takes for even just one like single musician, I was like in awe of like how much preparation and months it takes. Like not just like it's not like you're like a month before like, oh yeah, let's fly this artist. No, it's like months of preparation, so detailed, like all the logistics to figure out like the songs, the stage, the transportation,
how much time they get.
Right. So after his stage was done, he like came off stage and personally thanked each staff for like working so hard. And then it was so funny. He was like trying to give one of us a hug. He was like, anyone want a hug?
Oh my gosh.
And then all of us were so nervous. We were just standing there like, oh, like what do we do? And then one of the staff was like, gave him a hug, and she came out. She was like, I'm never like washing my hands again. She was like, he felt so good, and he was just so nice and just so warm. And I was like, oh, like I think I really loved seeing that side of an artist where like on stage you see all the glamour, but behind the scenes like you see how humble they are and how thankful they are for the staff that work so hard to be able to bring them to that stage, right?
Yeah.
And so I think seeing Junie in that light made me appreciate him more as an artist.
Wow. I mean, you must have worked so hard that day though because of all the logistics.
And it wasn't even that day. We were preparing for that event months ahead of time.
Wow.
And then when we were like prepping the venue, we were there for a week before everything happened. And we were there for more than 12 hours a day at a time.
Wow.
Yeah. So it truly was it was hard work.
It's like a 100-man team just for one
just
event.
for one event. Yeah. So that was that was the latest kind of like event I worked at. I would say that the first, so I've only worked at 2, but the first one that I worked at was my university did an event called K-pop Festa. And so basically they brought in Kim Sejong and Kingdom, which is a boy group, to the university. And basically they had a lot of dance crews come in to do covers, and then they did like a small competition. And then afterwards, Kingdom performed, I think like 2 or 3 songs. And then Kim Sejong came, and then she also performed and then did a little interaction with the crowd. And so that was really fun. I had to apply to be part of it. And then luckily, like I was able to be part of the stage production behind the scenes. And I just, honestly, the only thing I remember from that day, it was a blur, but I was running around the whole day. Like it truly, I was just managing the artists, like getting them from their dressing room to the stage and back, and then like small things in between, like just really just running around. So, and I only did that for one day. I'm like, how do people work at concerts for months? Because it's truly, I think, truly, have so much respect for people who do that because it's a tiring job.
I mean, it must be a labor of love, honestly.
It is truly a labor of love.
It sounds like very long days on your feet all day,
Mhm.
running around. And for some, maybe it feels like it's like they don't get as much appreciation from the crowds themselves,
Mhm.
but it's because they're the silent hands working in the back to make sure
Right.
the magic always stays perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work then.
What can I say? No, but I think that working at concerts is really fun. And I hope that fans are able to appreciate all the work that staff bring onto the stage for them.
I also think it's pretty cool that all these organizations have these opportunities for fans.
Yeah,
because sometimes it's on a volunteer basis where they are looking for people that are going to be at that pit stop in that city. So it gives them more of a chance to be part of the thing that they love. I
was pretty starstruck when I first saw Kim Se-jung. So I was like running around, like getting water, getting like the last minute things they needed in their dressing room. And then I was behind the stage, and then Kim Se-jung came to do her rehearsal at first. And then I was just like, oh my God, like she's so pretty in person. And this was right after she had finished filming Business Proposal. So she hadn't been singing for a while. And so she actually came to us, greeted us with her manager, and was like, oh, like I'm really nervous for today. And she said it in English. She was like, I'm really nervous for today. Like I haven't sung in a while. And then some of us were like, oh, we're big fans. Like you'll do great. And then she asked us like, what is your favorite drama? And then I think I told her like School 2015 or one of the oldest dramas she had, and she was like, oh really? She was like, not Business Proposal? And I was like, no, I love that too. So like she was like initiating conversation with us, which was really nice of her. And then she went on stage, did her magic. We like rearranged the monitors so she could like perfectly be able to do her stage. And then afterwards I like guided her back to her dressing room, and I think just seeing her like as a human was like, for me, it was a different, like, mind-blowing experience, because sometimes you forget that they're people too.
Right.
Like sometimes you just look at them at the monitor the whole time and you think that they're like somewhere else, but they're just like me and you, except with a lot more talent.
A lot more talent and people wanting to see them.
Yes, exactly. But I think that was I really loved meeting her in person, and then afterwards meeting Kingdom was really fun too. They were super personable. Like they at first, after they finished doing their whole performance and everything, they offered fans, like they came out of their dressing room and offered fans to take selfies. And then I walked them back to their bus, and then I remember that the members, like, they conversed with me. They were like, what are you studying? Like, what are you up to?
Wow.
They were really, really nice. And I was just truly, again, like, wow, like they're humans. Like,
Does that like give you the inspiration to be like, I want to work even harder? Because honestly,
for sure.
I really appreciate it.
Because for sure, I feel like because they're such good people in the end, you're like, well, I'm working for someone who's worth my hard work, And so I think doing those things where they're just so down to earth makes it really easy to work with them.
What was the most stressful part of that? Because I mean, you're running around all day, so.
One of the most stressful parts of that day I remember was when Kim Se-jung was about to go on stage, and then I think I had run to her dressing room to guide her to the stage, and I didn't realize that she didn't have her in-ear.
Oh.
And back then I didn't know what an in-ear was, and so she asked me in Korean. She was like, oh, like in-ear 없어요. And I was like, what is she saying? And then truly, I think I also was like I'm grateful that they were so patient and graceful with my broke Korean. And so I was just like, what is she saying? And then I was like, oh, it's like a mic pack. And then I was like, oh my God, I was like, wait a minute. And then I ran back, grabbed her mic pack, and ran all the way back to the dressing room. Like, and then I just gave it to her, and she was able to like do it herself. I was like,
wow.
Oh, thank God. Like, I don't know how to do it. Yeah. So things like that where I was like, there's like small details where like you might forget something, but then I think her like being so patient, being like, oh, it's okay, like take your time. And I was just like, no, we gotta get you to stage, and like you don't have your mic back, blah blah blah. And so things like that. And then I would say the second part that was stressful was when one of the members in Kingdom, his mic pack didn't work while he was on stage.
Oh no.
And then all of us backstage were like, oh my God. But then he was so professional. He was just like, oh, like this is not working. He kept on performing. And then in between
while signaling.
Yeah. And like in between this, and after one song was done, he came backstage and then we fixed it for him. And then he went back, kept on performing like nothing happened. So, you know, that level of professionalism is truly seen after like so much hard work from their side too.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm always so grateful to everyone that makes these shows possible for us, because we can't have, because even if it's like, you know, it's a fan convention or it's on a bigger scale, like a solo concert, you need so many people just to make that a reality.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm so grateful for everyone that comes in. Thank you for your hard work. Even though I wasn't there, I'm going to thank you.
Oh, too bad we didn't know each other.
Yeah, we didn't know each other back then. It's okay.
But now we know each other.
Now we
and
know
now
each
we have
other.
the podcast.
And now we have the podcast. Because I don't have that experience working backstage, but I think it's so important to show that like you were in college. So this isn't even something that like you had a ton of experience, and that's why you got the opportunity. It's you had the love and you wanted to try it out, and so you got the opportunity. Yeah. Thank you for letting me interview you on your experience.
Thank you so much for asking me questions and for telling me about your concert experience. I think it's always good to know like everyone's concert experience is truly different. So knowing what our biggest takeaways from different concerts are is like amazing. My biggest takeaway is truly enjoy the moment. Like I feel like each concert is so special in their own way, and it's one concert in one city. The next time the artist comes, it's a different set list with different outfits, different dynamics. So enjoy the moment, enjoy yourself, enjoy the fans around you, enjoy the love that the artist gives. So that's my biggest takeaway.
So with that in mind, what about you guys? Like what's been your favorite concert or your most memorable experience? What stands out to you?
Please leave comments so that we can read them.
All right, so moving on to the
Weverse wrap-up.
So for Weverse wrap-up, what's been going on for Weverse?
Oh, so much things. But one of my highlights is that Les Seraphim just came out with an album called Hot.
Oh my gosh.
It's their 5th mini album.
I'm so excited. Like, I loved the little teasers leading up to it, the imagery. It's so different from their last concept.
And my second highlight is that Super Junior is actually celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. They were my first like K-pop boy band that I loved.
They're the gates that opened my K-pop world. So seeing that they're so long lasting is crazy.
Wow, that's insane. Well, congrats to them.
Congrats Super Junior.
And to all the elves out there who held on.
And then other highlights is that there's a listening party feature available on Weverse now. So basically fans can listen to music together with their artists, and that will help like boost their streams. So it's very interesting.
That's pretty cool. So now I can just hop into a stream rather than having like 3 going at once.
Yes, exactly. What about you? What have you been noticing on Weverse?
Well, I mean, we just had Women's History Month.
Yay!
And a few of our very own Weverse artists are actually going to be celebrated for Billboard, for the Billboard Women in Music. We have Gracie Abrams, Espa,
Jenny. And honestly, like all great women who have contributed so much to the music world. So truly we dedicate this honor to the fans too, who have propelled the fandom and the community.
Again, this just goes to show how far we've come within K-pop, because this is Billboard. Like this is a huge stage, and to see that they're inviting so many different artists, K-pop artists, other Weverse artists,
and
to
women
be on
artists.
the same stage, and women artists. It's great to be represented in that way.
What else have you heard of?
Well, I'm not sure if you noticed, but J-Hope released his second single.
Yes, congrats to all the J-Hope fans out there.
Seriously, we can't stop listening.
And my last highlight is that at the time of the recording, Mark from NCT has his solo album coming out on April 7th.
Oh my gosh.
So it's coming up real soon. So we're very excited for that too.
Finally, I mean, I remember his last couple of singles. We've been waiting on this album.
I know. Right. And I feel like those were just a couple of highlights that we have from Weverse and the music world. If you guys want to stay updated with more updates, check out the Weverse app.
As always, there's always so many things going on and you do not want to miss it.
So that was the Weverse wrap-up. And now moving on to one of our favorite sections, the fan zones.
Ooh, fan zones.
So we have a little special surprise for you guys. We're going to be revealing the host's reaction to the first episode and reacting to some comments that you guys have left for us. So let's go ahead with the video. Hi everyone, welcome to the fan zone. We're going to be reading some comments because we just released our first episode like less than 24 hours ago.
Let's go.
So we're super excited to see what your reactions were, what you thought, and what you guys want us to talk about.
Yeah, super excited. Let's go ahead. Can't believe it hasn't even been a day yet.
We're going to read the comments off of
The Weverse zone.
the Weverse zone, which is crazy to think that we are even on the Weverse
I
app.
know.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
like even seeing the banner that got posted, I was like,
What? Didn't feel real. I was like, is that a dream?
Gibbons Reba says, excellent start. I'm looking forward to seeing more episodes. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mari says, fantastic job, ladies. Looking forward to more. We're looking forward to.
And then Jackie Mo said, this was so cute. Looking forward to hearing more of your takes on the K-pop world.
Thank
you. This comment is important.
Yeah.
Baby Ayala put a bunch of Argentinian flags.
And then a couple of world
Let's
emojis.
go Argentina. Aguante Argentina.
Member Tazo40 says, interesting new concept. Good luck, girls. Heart.
Thank you. Ted Ann says, K-pop shows the work about the Asian culture to the world, which I think is very valid. I think we talked about it in the podcast, how it really has expanded internationally and globally. Shimbang Bong Bang Yung Jun Jun. I don't know what it means, but they put a lot of omo, which means oh my gosh in Korean.
That's how I felt too when I saw our banner.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for leaving some comments. We've been reading through them. We'll continue to read them because it's honestly amazing to see what you guys think of the podcast and how we can continue to stay connected to each other.
Thank you so much for your comments. We had so much fun reading them and we'll keep on reading them.
And this was the fan zone. Let's go back to the studio.
Wow, that was so cool to see.
And it
I
makes
can't
me
believe
still
it.
so emotional to know that like now this is out onto the world.
Yeah, I was very nervous when we were filming because I'm like, I can't believe this is actually happening. I can't believe like we're seeing ourselves. An idea that just came out of our heads that took so much planning, finally in front of us, not on our screens, but on your guys' screen too.
Right. And I think like getting to know what you guys thought and how you guys reacted to the video made me feel really close and just really emotional overall.
It felt right. Like, like, yes, this is our moment to be with fans and just give them what we wish we had had when we were younger and discovered it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the conversation that we had today.
Yes.
As always, I feel like even though we've known each other for a bit now, we get to know each other more through these experiences. And it's always good to hear what your thoughts are in the K-pop world.
And no, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Like, it's invaluable to have that as people who are concert goers because we often don't think about the people that are working behind the scenes. And so it just gives us a more holistic view and allows us to give us more to appreciate for these concerts.
100%. Thank you. But yes, please follow us on our social media and please leave a comment on what you thought about today's episode, about your concert experience, or if you've worked behind the scenes, what your experience was like. So that was it for today's episode. This was Pod in the Verse. See you next week.